chesslessons.net, and I'm going to be looking at a game from the 2009 Aeroflot Open in Moscow, Russia. And so, two rising stars here, Wesley playing the white pieces against Eltaj Safarli. And so, opening up with the Spanish game, or the Roy Lopez, however you want to call it. And this is pretty much a standard theory. And Queen E2 is definitely a different move. You don't see this very much. Definitely not the main line. So was probably trying to throw off Safarli a little bit. So now Rook D1. So I believe this is called the Warall attack. And so pretty much White's idea, he's trying to mix up the standard move order. And by moving the Rook to D1, he's already cleared out some space for the maneuver Knight D2 to F1 to E3. So I thought he was going to play D4 in this position. Seemed to be the most natural move, but it loses on the spot. To C5 with C4 coming. So it just drops a piece. So instead he tried C3, maybe prepping D4, but now D5 by white. D4 maybe still was an option, although it seems quite risky. Maybe knight takes. This is a very complicated position, but it seems to me black is going to be doing just fine here. Even knight takes E4. Maybe black just wins a piece with D4. So instead he did D3, and now maneuvering the knight. H6, just getting some kingside space. Maybe he's thinking about playing bishop F8 and G6 here. A3 to make room for the bishop to retreat to A2 and maintain pressure along the A2 G8 diagonal. So knight F1, just trying to maneuver the knight. D5 and F5 would be the ideal squares for a white knight. So now knight A5, and so C5. And here, you got to think black has come out of the opening pretty good, as he's got a mass of pawns in the center, and they're ready to roll. It's definitely a dynamic pawn center. So first B4, White's got to try to chip away at that pawn center. The problem is his queen is on this X-ray with the black rook, and so it really limits what White can do. You know, he definitely can't play D4 or, you know, any kind of E takes D5 and D4. So knight E3, trying to put a little more pressure. And so D4, definitely not a surprise. So maybe in this position, I don't know. I mean, it's pretty tough. If White tries to get a little too fresh, the D4 square is going to be a serious problem for him. So it seems like knight takes, a good move, because the knight on C6 was kind of in the way of the black bishop. And it was just kind of in the way. You know, on the C file as well, maybe black wants to play rook C8 and C4 in the future. So definitely a good idea to go ahead and trade off the knight on F3. And so with E takes, now the position is gotten pretty bad for White, because black could try some tactics, knight D5, try to come to C3. Not really tactics, but based on this X-ray against the white queen. Instead, Safarli just plays C4. And now the E4 pawn is going to drop, and black is going to have a really good attack. Queen F3, and here Safarli could have played C3, obtaining a protected pass pawn and a huge advantage going into the endgame. So after takes, but instead he plays Queen B6, which was a really nice move because it's maintaining control of the D4 pawn, and it's also threatening to swing the queen over after some exchanges. So takes. White didn't want to go into the endgame with the protected pass pawn, so he opens himself up to a really strong attack. Starting with rook takes E4, Queen G3, and the queen is really in the way here. Queen E6, a nice centralizing move, setting up some tactics. Also rook E8 would have been just fine. And now Queen D3. So is trying to defend. Rook E1 doesn't work because of takes. Queen takes, and queen to F1 will defend. So now rook E8. So just tripling up, maintaining control of the E file in the center, and just a humongous attack. Everything, all the black pieces are working. You know, the bishop can come to d6, and really the a8 to h1 diagonal is just killing it for black. Bishop d2, gotta try to develop and defend against the back rank mates, but just not gonna work. Queen g6. Now black is threatening, let's say, whatever white does. Maybe he plays g3. Rook e1 would just be completely decisive. Black would have an extra piece. Not to mention, he's just, you know, white is hopeless. Black maintains the attack. So g3 doesn't work. So tried queen h3. Queen f3, a similar fate. Rook e1 check, discover attack on the queen. If queen g3, rook g4, pretty simple. So he tried queen h3, and after rook h4, Wesley so resigned in 26 moves. So not terribly impressed with white's opening here, as black was able to achieve a mass of pawns in the center and convert that into a crushing attack, perfectly coordinated. So a very nice game by Eltaj Safarli, and it's really not often you see Wesley so lose, period, much less in 26 moves. So this is Will Stewart from OnlineChessLessons.net, and thanks for tuning in.